I worked the closing shift at a convenience store on the east side of Milwaukee, February 2019. The kind of winter that makes you forget what warmth feels like. Not the romantic kind with snowflakes on Christmas cards, the brutal kind. The air's so cold it hurts to breathe, where your lungs tighten and your nose runs and you can't feel your fingertips even through gloves. That night I locked up around 11. The owner always made us check the back alley before we left, make sure no one was sleeping near the dumpsters. I hated that part. The alley was narrow, poorly lit, and it smelled like rotting food no matter the season. But I did it. I stepped out the back door, flashlight in hand, snow crunching under my boots. The storm had started around 8 and hadn't let up. Thick, heavy flakes that stuck to everything. My car was buried under 6 inches already. I swept the flashlight across the alley. Nothing. Just dumpsters and snow and the brick walls of the buildings on either side. I turned to go back in, lock the door, and head to my car. That's when I heard it. A scraping sound. Metal on concrete. I stopped, listened. The wind was howling, but beneath it, I swear I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate. I told myself it was nothing. A rat, a cat, something normal. I got into my car and sat there for a minute, letting the engine warm up. The heater blew cold air at first, always did. I scraped the inside of the windshield with my credit card, wiping away the fog. The street light at the end of the alley flickered. On, off, on. It had been doing that for weeks. I kept meaning to tell the owner, but I never did. I put the car in reverse and started backing out. That's when my headlights caught something. A shape, just at the edge of the alley where the streetlight barely reached. I hit the brakes, squinted. It looked like a person, standing there, not moving, just standing in the middle of the snow, shoulders hunched, head down. I rolled down my window an inch. "You okay?" My voice sounded small against the wind. No answer. The shape didn't move. I felt my stomach drop. Something was wrong. People don't just stand in blizzards. Not like that. I put the car back in park and grabbed my phone. I thought about calling the cops, but what would I say? There's someone standing in the snow? That's not a crime. I decided to leave through the front street instead. I shifted into drive and started creeping forward, turning the wheel to head toward the main road. But as I turned, my headlights swept across the alley again. The figure was gone. Just gone. No footprints leading away, nothing. Just smooth, untouched snow where it had been standing. My hands started shaking. I told myself I'd imagined it. The flickering streetlight, the shadows, my tired brain playing tricks. But I didn't believe that. I'd seen it. I knew I'd seen it. I drove onto the main street, wipers working overtime to clear the snow. The roads were empty. No cars, no plows, nothing. Just me and the storm. My apartment was 15 minutes away. Normally I take the highway, but in weather like this, I stuck to surface streets. Slower, but safer. I turned onto North Avenue, a long stretch of old houses and corner stores, all closed for the night. Street lights every 50 feet, most of them working. I kept checking my rearview mirror. I don't know why, just a feeling, that animal instinct that tells you you're not alone. 3 blocks in, I saw it again, the figure, standing on the sidewalk, facing the street, facing me. Same posture, same stillness. I slammed on the brakes and the car skidded a few feet before stopping. My heart was hammering in my chest, so hard I could hear it over the wind. I stared at it through the windshield, wipers scraping back and forth, clearing the snow just long enough for me to get a clear look. The figure was maybe 20 feet away, close enough that I should have been able to see details. A face, eyes, something human. But there was nothing, just the dark shape of the hood, like a void where a face should be. The coat hung loose, shapeless, giving no indication of build or size. The hands were pale, almost gray in the streetlight, and they hung motionless at its sides. I didn't move, neither did it. Seconds passed, 10, 20. My breath came in short gasps, fogging the inside of the windshield. The heater was blasting, but I felt frozen. Then it took a step forward. Not fast, not rushed, just one deliberate step, onto the street, toward my car. A car horn would have been normal, a shout, anything human, but there was nothing, just that slow, purposeful movement. I punched the gas. The tires spun for a second, whining against the ice before catching.
The car lurched forward, and I accelerated past it, close enough that I could have reached out and touched it if my window had been down. I didn't look at it as I passed. I couldn't. But in my peripheral vision, I saw its head turn, following me, tracking me. My whole body was shaking now, adrenaline spiking through me like electricity. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white, my fingers aching. I told myself it was a coincidence, someone walking home, someone drunk or high or lost or mentally ill. But how did they get ahead of me? I'd been driving. There was no way someone on foot could have covered that distance in that time. Not in this storm, not in this cold. The math didn't work. It didn't make sense. I turned onto a side street, trying to put distance between me and whatever that was. The houses here were older, spaced further apart, fewer streetlights. I kept my speed steady, eyes darting between the road and the mirrors. The snow was coming down so thick I could barely see 10 feet ahead. Then my phone rang. The sudden noise made me jump, and I almost swerved into a parked car. I fumbled for it, glancing at the screen. Unknown number. I let it ring. It went to voicemail. 3 seconds later, it rang again. Same number. I answered. Hello? Nothing. Just static. And beneath it, something else. Breathing. Slow. Raspy. I hung up and threw the phone onto the passenger seat like it had burned me. My mind was racing. I thought about calling 911, but what would I say? Someone's following me? I didn't even know if that was true. I hadn't seen the figure since I'd driven past it. Maybe I was panicking over nothing. Maybe I was losing it. I turned back onto a main road, looking for other cars, other people, anything to make me feel less alone. But the streets were dead.
The storm had driven everyone inside. I passed a gas station, lights on, but no one visible at the counter. A bus stop, empty, the bench already buried under snow. A church, dark except for a single light above the door. Then I saw it again. This time it was standing in the middle of an intersection, right under the traffic light. The light was red, bathing everything in a bloody glow. There were no other cars, just me and it. I stopped about 30 feet away, engine idling, exhaust steaming in the cold air. The wipers kept sweeping back and forth, and each time they cleared the windshield, I saw it more clearly. It was facing me. I could see that now, even through the snow. The hood still shadowed its face, but I could feel its eyes on me. Not looking near me, not past me, directly at me. Like it could see through the glass, through the snow, through everything. The light turned green. I didn't move. Neither did it. My breath was fogging up the windshield faster than the defroster could clear it. I realized I'd been holding my breath. I exhaled slowly, trying to calm down, trying to think. My phone sat on the passenger seat, screen dark. I thought about calling someone, anyone, but who? What would I say? The figure raised one arm, slowly, almost casually. It pointed at me, one finger extended, the others curled into the palm. The gesture was so deliberate, so specific, that it sent a wave of nausea through me. Then it started walking, not to the side, not away, straight toward my car, slow steps, unhurried, like it had all the time in the world, like it knew I had nowhere to go. I threw the car into reverse and backed up, tires spinning on the icy road. I cranked the wheel and turned around, heading back the way I'd come. I was breathing so hard I felt lightheaded. In the rearview mirror, I saw the figure standing in the intersection, arms still raised. Then the snow swallowed it. I drove faster than I should have, taking turns without thinking, just trying to get away. My apartment was close, 3 more blocks. I could make it. I had to make it. I turned onto my street and saw my building ahead.
4 stories, brown brick, bars on the first floor windows. I'd never been so happy to see it. I pulled into the parking lot, skidding to a stop in the first spot I found. I grabbed my phone, my keys, and my bag, and ran for the front door. The snow was ankle deep in the lot, and I nearly fell twice. My fingers were numb, and it took 3 tries to get my key into the lock. Behind me, I heard something. A crunch. I spun around, key still in the lock. Nothing. Just the snow and the wind and the rows of parked cars. I got the door open and stumbled inside, slamming it behind me. The lobby was warm and bright, and for a moment I just stood there, gasping for air. My legs felt weak, like they might give out. I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes, trying to slow my breathing. When I opened them, I looked through the glass door, out into the parking lot. I couldn't see anything, just snow. The storm had gotten worse. I could barely make out the cars. I took the stairs to the 3rd floor, not trusting the elevator. My apartment was at the end of the hall. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, and locked it behind me. Deadbolt. Chain. I checked the windows. Locked. I pulled the curtains closed. I sat on the couch and tried to think. My phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. I opened it. No words. Just a photo. It took me a second to realize what I was looking at. It was my car. In the parking lot. Taken from outside. Taken just now. I dropped the phone like it had shocked me, and it clattered onto the floor. My whole body went cold, a chill that had nothing to do with the winter air. Someone was outside. Right now. Watching. I crawled to the window on my hands and knees, not wanting to be seen, and pulled the curtain back just an inch, peering out into the parking lot. At first, I didn't see anything. Just the storm. The snow was falling so thick, it looked like static, like the world had lost signal. The streetlights created halos of yellow light, but beyond them was only darkness. Then movement. A shape. Near my car. The same figure. It was standing next to the driver's side door, looking up, looking at my building.
Looking at my window. Even from the 3rd floor, even through the snow, I could make out the dark hood, the pale hands, the absolute stillness of its posture. It wasn't shifting its weight, wasn't brushing snow off its shoulders, just standing there, like a statue, like something that didn't feel the cold. I let the curtain fall and backed away from the window, my heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. My phone buzzed again, the vibration loud against the hardwood floor. I grabbed it. Another text, another photo. This time, it was the front door of my building. The same door I'd just come through 5 minutes ago. The angle was from across the street, from the sidewalk. Whoever took it had been standing right there, watching me go in. I couldn't breathe. My chest felt tight, like something was sitting on it, crushing my ribs. I grabbed my phone with both hands, barely able to hold it steady, and dialed 911. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. The line rang once, twice, 3 times, then a click, silence, then that breathing again, slow, raspy, deliberate. I hung up and tried again, my fingers fumbling over the screen. Same thing, the line connected, but it wasn't the dispatcher, just that breathing, like whoever was outside had somehow intercepted the call, like they were inside the line, inside my phone, inside my head. I threw it across the room and ran to my door. I checked the locks again, deadbolt encaged, chain secure. I dragged a chair over and wedged it under the handle, then stepped back, staring at the door like it might explode inward at any moment. I heard a sound from the hallway, a scrape, metal on metal. I froze, staring at the door. The sound came again. Someone was trying the door handle, slowly, testing it. I held my breath, phone clutched in my hand. The handle turned, stopped, turned again, then stopped. Silence. I waited. 10 seconds. 20. Nothing. I crept toward the door, ear pressed against it, listening. I could hear something on the other side, breathing, right there, inches away. I stumbled back, biting my lip to keep from screaming. The breathing stopped. Then a knock. Slow. Deliberate. 3 times.
Knock, knock, knock. I didn't answer. Another knock, louder. Then a voice, muffled through the door. I know you're in there. It was low, calm, almost friendly. Open the door. I backed into the living room, eyes locked on the door. The chair was still wedged under the handle. The locks were secure, but I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe at all. The knocking continued, steady, unrelenting. Knock, knock, knock. The rhythm never changed, not faster, not slower, mechanical, inhuman. It went on for minutes, each knock louder than the last, echoing through my apartment like a drum. Then it stopped. Silence. I waited,
every muscle in my body tense, my ears straining for any sound. Then I heard footsteps, moving away, down the hallway, toward the stairs. Slow, deliberate steps. Not running, not fleeing, just walking. I didn't move. I didn't trust it. I stood there in the dark, phone in one hand, bat in the other, waiting for something to happen. Minutes passed. Nothing. The silence was suffocating. I started to think maybe it was over. Maybe they'd left. Maybe I'd scared them off. Then I heard it. A sound from the fire escape. A metallic clang, like someone stepping onto the iron grating. My blood turned to ice. The fire escape was outside my bedroom window. I'd left the window unlocked. I always did. It was the 3rd floor. I never thought anyone would climb up. Why would they? It was winter. It was freezing. No one in their right mind would climb a snow-covered fire escape in the middle of a blizzard. But whoever this was, they weren't in their right mind. I ran to the bedroom and flipped on the light, flooding the room with harsh yellow brightness. The window was closed, but through the glass I could see a shape. Crouched on the fire escape, hoodie pulled low, one hand pressed against the glass, fingers splayed, the palm flat. The other hand hung at its side, and in it something glinted. Metal, a knife, a tool, I couldn't tell. I grabbed the nearest thing I could find, a baseball bat I kept in the closet for exactly this kind of situation, and raised it over my shoulder. Get away! My voice cracked, high and desperate. I'm calling the cops.
They're on their way! The figure didn't move. It just stared. I still couldn't see its face, just the darkness of the hood, but I could feel its eyes on me. Then, slowly, it raised its other hand, the one without the metal, and tapped on the glass. Tap, tap, tap. 3 times. Deliberate, mocking, like it was knocking on a door, like it expected me to let it in. I screamed. I couldn't help it. I swung the bat at the window, not to break it, just to scare them off. The figure recoiled, pulling back from the glass. I lunged forward and locked the window, yanking the curtains shut. I ran back to the living room and tried my phone again. This time, 911 connected. A dispatcher answered. I was talking so fast I barely made sense. Gave them my address, told them someone was trying to break in. They said units were on the way. Stay inside, stay away from windows, don't open the door. I did exactly that. I sat on the floor in the hallway, bat across my lap, staring at the front door. Minutes felt like hours. Then I heard sirens, faint at first, then louder. Red and blue lights flashed through the curtains. I heard car doors slamming, voices. I stayed where I was, too scared to move. A knock at the door. Milwaukee PD. I crawled over and looked through the peephole. 2 officers, uniforms visible. I moved the chair, unlocked the deadbolt and the chain, and opened the door. They asked me questions. I told them everything. The figure in the alley, the phone calls, the texts, the fire escape. One officer went to check the fire escape while the other stayed with me. He asked to see my phone. I showed him the photos. His expression darkened. The other officer came back. No one out there now, but there are footprints, fresh, leading down the fire escape and into the alley. They searched the building, checked the parking lot. They found more footprints in the snow, leading from my car to the building, then to the fire escape, then away. But they disappeared after half a block, like whoever it was, it just vanished into the storm. The police stayed for an hour, filing a report, dusting the fire escape for prints.
They didn't find anything useful. No ID, no leads. They told me to keep my doors and windows locked, to call if anything else happened. Then they left. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch with the bat, lights on, jumping at every sound. The snow kept falling outside, piling higher and higher, burying the footprints, erasing the evidence. The next morning, I called my landlord and demanded new locks. I bought security cameras for the door and the windows. I stopped working closing shifts. I started parking right under the streetlight in the lot, even if it meant walking farther. For weeks, I checked my phone obsessively, waiting for another text, another photo. But nothing came. No more calls, no more visits. Whoever it was had disappeared as completely as they'd appeared. It's been years now, but I still think about that night. I moved out of that apartment 6 months later. Couldn't stay, couldn't sleep. Every time it snowed, I'd look out the window and remember that figure standing in the parking lot, looking up at me. I'd remember the sound of the window tapping, the breathing on the phone, the footprints in the snow that led right to my door. I never found out who it was. The police never called back with answers. The case went cold, literally and figuratively.
buried under paperwork and snow and the sheer volume of unsolved crimes in a city like Milwaukee. Sometimes I wonder if I imagined the whole thing, if the storm and the isolation and my exhausted, overworked brain made me see things that weren't there, if I constructed a monster out of shadows and fear. But then I remember the photos, the footprints, the officers who saw them too, the prints on the fire escape, dusted for evidence. It was real. Someone followed me home that night. Someone watched me. Someone tried to get in. And I'll never know why. That's the part that keeps me up at night. Not knowing if it was random or if I was chosen. Not knowing if they saw me at the store and decided I looked vulnerable, or if they'd been watching me for days, weeks, learning my schedule, planning their approach.
Not knowing if they moved on to someone else, or if they're still out there, waiting for another snowy night to try again. I don't work closing shifts anymore. I don't live alone. I check every lock twice, sometimes 3 times. I keep a bat by my bed and pepper spray in my purse. I park under lights. I don't wear headphones when I walk. I look over my shoulder. Always. Sometimes on winter nights, when the snow falls heavy and the streets go quiet, I catch myself looking out the window, searching the shadows, half expecting to see that figure again, standing in the street, looking up, waiting. And I wonder if I'll ever feel safe again, if I'll ever stop seeing that dark shape in my dreams, if I'll ever forget the sound of that tapping on the glass. I don't think I will.